Once a year, people who have a learning disability can have an annual health check. An annual health check is when a doctor checks to see if you are healthy. It is a time to talk to the doctor about anything you are worried about or any part of your body that is in pain. You don't have to be ill to have an annual health check. Here is Dr. Ian Jarvis to tell us more. Hello Dr. Jarvis, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Nick.
Okay. Who can have an annual health check?
Anybody over 14 with a learning disability can have an annual health check.
How do GPs know which people with learning disabilities to contact to make sure they get a health check?
Okay, so on our computers we have records which includes lists of those people who have got learning disabilities, and so we look at those lists and call people in from that.
Why should I have an annual health check?
We like to do annual health checks because it's a way of knowing that you're healthy and finding out about things that maybe you're not so good at, not so healthy at. And so we can give you advice about things that maybe you need to change, maybe in what you're eating or how heavy you are, or finding out about things like blood pressure problems. And so it's a way of making sure that we see you every year. We know that people with learning disability come to see doctors a bit less because they don't always recognise some of the signs that they should. And so it's a way of making sure we catch that stuff every year.
What will a health check involve?
So your health check involves us asking you a lot of questions. Quite often, for some people at least, we actually send out a questionnaire beforehand so that maybe you or with your carers you can fill in details like when did you last go to the dentist or the optician, information like that. But then when you come in, we'll ask you lots of questions so that we know what advice you might need, whether that's about, as I already said, smoking or alcohol, your diet, things like that. For some people we need to know whether they need special help in terms of communicating with other people. So lots of information like that. Then tend to do a very simple bit of checking up, so we might check your blood pressure, listen to your heart, listen to your lungs, maybe look at some rashes you might have told me about, that sort of thing. And then we give you a whole lot of advice, depending on what advice you need, about how to look after yourself well.
How long will the health check last?
I usually allow 20 to 30 minutes, so a good amount of time so we can talk about lots of things. Sometimes that will be split between two appointments, so sometimes my nurse will see you for the first bit and I'll see you for the second bit.
What information do you send about the annual health check?
Okay, so after we've met I pull up what we call a health action plan, so it will be the most important things that we've talked about. So it might be, for instance, you need to lose some weight or you need to have a blood test done, things like that that you need to be doing. Some things that I might need to be doing as well.
Can I bring someone with me?
Absolutely yes, anyone you like.
What do you do with the information?
So I store the information on my computer. Some of it we will make into that health action plan for you, but I'll always keep it on the computer. And that way, when I do your next annual review in a year's time, I can see how you answered the question this year and then how you answer it next year, and we can see if things are changing.
How do you make sure people with very complex needs get their annual health checks?
So People with complex needs, we're going to be writing to their carers. And for some people, they've got needs that are so complex they can't even come into surgery, so I might visit them at home. But either way, whether we see them here or at home, we'll do the same sorts of things, but they're just more difficult. And they've got more things for me to be thinking about.
How do you check that people will understand and they agree to it?
So I will always talk to my patients about what we're going to do and ask their permission to do things. So if I'm going to do their blood pressure, I ask them first. So we do it step by step and work with what they understand we're going to be doing.
What kind of training do health staff get about annual health checks?
Okay, so I've actually delivered training to a lot of health staff, doctors and nurses, about what needs to be put into a health check. And it's part of our normal medical training, but we've delivered some special training to doctors and nurses over the last 2 or 3 years about what else they might need to think about.
It's quite interesting.
Well, I have to have an annual health check.
You don't have to, but it's a good idea.
Who's going to see it?
You, your carers and me.
Will I have to get undressed?
No, we might need to uncover some bits, like you might need to take your jumper off so I can check your blood pressure, but you don't have to do anything you don't want to.
Where will I have my annual health check?
Most people will come to see me at the surgery, but for some people, if they can't, then I will see them in their home, care home, whatever.
How I know I need one.
So we'll write to you every year, and if you've had a health check before, you should need a year after that first one.
What is the most important thing about an annual health check?
That's a difficult question to answer because it depends on the individual. It's an opportunity to review things like medication, lifestyle, general uptake of screening services, all of those things, and they're all important.
For more information, 0800 019 3346. Check out our other films.